Hi there, and welcome to episode 22 of Let's Talk IT Careers. My name is Tim Warner. The name of this episode is CompTIA Cloud Plus Certification Profile. All right, the problem statement here is, let's imagine that you're in the IT industry or you're preparing to enter the IT industry, and you see the writing on the wall with respect to cloud computing, and that's where you want to go with your career. You want to specialize in cloud computing. Issue is you don't have any prior experience in the cloud. You see all these brands like Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services, Oracle Cloud, IBM. Where do you start? It feels like a maze. Well, I propose that you may want to look into the CompTIA Cloud Plus certification in order to get your sea legs with cloud technologies in general. CompTIA, if you're not aware, is a multi-company nonprofit. It's a vendor-neutral standards organization, although they do partner with most of the major hardware and software vendors in the world. And they have a number of credentials: A+ for computer hardware and computer software, Network Plus for network support. Those are industry-leading vendor-neutral entry-level credentials. But more recently, over the last handful of years, we've had this Cloud Plus title. It began life as Cloud Essentials, and now it uses the familiar Plus title that CompTIA's got a lot of mileage on with some of their other certs. If you want to look into this cert or any of the CompTIA certs, go to CompTIA.org, CompTIA, and you can read all about it. I submit that the Cloud Plus skills are applicable to any public cloud platform. The two industry leaders, at least in my humble opinion, are Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS. If I were to put a number 3, it would probably be Google Cloud Platform. Now, Microsoft, Amazon, and Google all have their own certifications, but of course, those credentials validate your skills in those particular public cloud platforms. By contrast, by certifying with Cloud Plus, you're demonstrating competency in cloud computing across the board. In fact, one of the things you could do on the CompTIA.org website is download a full breakdown of all the exam objectives, and you're going to find that many of them touch principles that are really important to IT in general, things like governance and documentation. Now, the subject matter, CompTIA is always good about breaking down what to expect. You see on the right, this is partially from it's an extract from the CompTIA Cloud Plus Objectives document. Notice that we have 5 objective domains: configuration and deployment, security, maintenance, management, and troubleshooting. Admittedly, those are general headings. If you read the PDF from CompTIA.org, they go into exhaustive detail breaking down each of those domains. And you notice by percentage, they're pretty equally weighted. Now, as far as prerequisites, there's nothing formal that you have to have under your belt. You don't have to have the CompTIA Network Plus or Server Plus, but CompTIA considers those helpful foundational certifications. There is going to be a lot of vocabulary and acronyms on the test, as you would expect. As far as exam metadata, what to expect more specifically, the exam ID here is CV0002. There is a 001, but that's retiring in fall 2018. Just want to make sure that you're registering for the latest version. CompTIA does a good job of updating their exams, in some cases every year, in other cases every few years, to make sure that the skills that are in that exam objectives blueprint map to what's actually happening in the real world. You never want to study for a certification that deals with outdated technologies or doesn't track with what you'll actually see in the industry. You have 90 questions over 90 minutes. This is a computer-based exam. You're going to register at a Pearson VUE. Pearson is Pearson, VUE is VUE, testing center. Hopefully you have one near you where you live. And the types of questions you can expect are mostly multiple choice, single answer multiple choice, or multiple answer multiple choice. You'll find that the question stems are normally pretty brief. You don't have to read through exhaustive case studies like you do with some of the Microsoft certification exams, for instance. CompTIA is also known for giving you performance-based or interactive items as well. So as far as preparing, I would suggest you look into exam preparation software that includes the performance-based item type. So if you haven't taken an exam that includes performance-based items before, I don't want you to feel blindsided. Notice that the passing score is 750 on a scale of 900, and it costs $302 in US dollars per attempt. Note that these are not inexpensive exams, so they're not something that you just decide to register for on a whim. Normally, they're going to require a fair amount of practice and preparation. See other episodes in this Let's Talk IT Careers series, because I have an episode that gives you focused advice on how to prepare for a certification exam using a model that I call Tim's IT Certification Study Pyramid. Finally, again, in the name of having their certifications represent real-world industry skills, the Cloud Plus is good for 3 years as of your exam date. And in order to keep the credential current in your CompTIA certification profile, you need to either recertify by taking that or another related exam in the CompTIA portfolio, or what's even nicer is that you need X number of continuing education unit or CEU credits. I say X number because I don't want to pin myself down. You want to go to the CompTIA.org website, look up the Cloud Plus title, and read exactly what's in there. I've found that it's pretty easy to earn those CEUs. Look around. Oftentimes, attending 2 or 3 one-hour webcasts is enough for you to validate. You'd have to submit that you were, in fact, at those webcasts, but that's oftentimes enough to meet the CEU requirement and to keep your certification valid for another 3 years. As far as next steps, where do you go from here if you've decided that you want to pursue this credential? Actually, before I bring out my bullet points, let me say that I submit to you that even if the certification itself is not your end goal, just simply preparing for it, that is, purchasing a book, maybe do some computer-based training or instructor-led training, provides you a great excuse to deep dive into the subject matter. And learning the subject matter and gaining hands-on practical expertise in any event is going to have only a positive impact on your career. And if you work for an employer who's kind enough to pay for your certification preparation, then that's all to the good. After you pass your Cloud Plus, I suggest that you begin to specialize in a particular technology. Start trial accounts with Microsoft Azure and Amazon Web Services. Get in there and kick the tires and figure out which of those platforms, or maybe both of them, or maybe neither of them, is a best fit for your interest, aptitude, and professional passion. Actually, one of the first Let's Talk IT Careers episodes deals with that issue of figuring out your professional passion. Another good tip is to look up local technology user groups. Like at Right, the screenshot shows the Nashville Microsoft Azure Users Group. I'm very much involved in that group, and it's an excellent opportunity to share knowledge, to gain knowledge, and to do networking. Speaking of which, making blind introductions can often lead to job opportunities, good professional relationships, and even friendships. I have an upcoming episode planned in this series where I'll go into greater detail on how to do blind introductions genuinely and to great effect. Well, I want to thank you for joining me on this episode. As always, again, my name is Tim Warner. You can reach me on Twitter at TechTrainerTim, the web at timwarnertech.com, or LinkedIn by looking up my name, Timothy L. Warner, or my short URL is timw.info/TW link. All the best to you. Thanks again and take care.